guilty of crime.
And we're back. Hello, everybody. What's up? I'm your host, Jay, with Guilty of Crime. And look at that today, guys. Come on in. I can't even stand looking at that. I want to get the vacuum out and throw the doll away. That poor dolly there. Look at that doll. Look at that doll. Look at the floor. Guys, today we're talking about the House of Horrors. Ohio's inside the House of Horrors. What dark secrets will the DNA and birth records exposed? Guys, I got a giant show for you today. There's so much, and I didn't even realize how much information has come out since I last covered this a week ago. All right, so come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, make sure you get all notifications. If you're not new here, try to get yourself a membership. If you can, towards our goal, you can get a membership, gift a membership, or I will be gifting memberships later on in the show. So come on in, guys. Let's get to it. There's nothing about this episode that's clickbait. I want you guys to realize that when I do an episode that I want every piece of it in there that we're discussing. So, guys, there's so freaking much things, so many things going on, but there's now a gag order. And that's why the cover of my episode, or the thumbnail, has their mouths taped shut. All right? It's a gag order. And not only is it their gag order, but guys, they're trying to okay $1 million fund to help the children, and things have come out that they knew about in the past. So there's many things that happened up until this time when everyone was saying they didn't know. And then the brother came in and said, well, yeah, they did. They knew. You'll see. Well, guess what? They did. And when I say I'll get into all that. All right, guys. So buckle up, buckle in. Like I said, Elizabeth Siders is, in fact, pregnant. That has been confirmed throughout the documentation. So many people are still on that, asking what happened. Is she actually pregnant? Yes, she is pregnant, 110%. All right. So DNA is being worked now. There are birth records, but we don't know what the DNA is. And according to that, Ohio Controlling Board is considering $1 million emergency fund to help the children, and the judge approves a gag order. All right. And other than that, we're going in the house. We're going to talk about the things that should have been addressed when they were, guys. This timeline of the family and them moving, people knew the children existed. There's birth certificates. All of that was right for anybody to see, but they just were failed, and they realized that. So come on in, guys. Go, girl. Give a girl a thumbs up. Southern Illinois, baby. House missed you. Big J. Missed you too, Autumn. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. And Golden Hen, a member for 3 months. Keep on coming, baby. Keep coming back. Much love to you. So, yeah, you can see the dirty house in the back. It's driving me nuts already, but don't worry. All right, come on in, guys. Tony says, I feel sorry for her. Yeah, and when you look back at the past, Tony, the problem is that she knew the choices that she was making. It wasn't like she was born into it like her children were. They didn't know how to do better or get better for themselves because they were born into that. The 18-month-old that was that was running around the carpet and putting stuff in their mouth with freaking cockroaches running around, giant mice, feces everywhere. They didn't have that opportunity. And now they will. All right. Allison, good to see you. Lady for Justice, always a pleasure. All the mods are in the house today. The boss bitch, how you doing? Hug Sadie's mama. Ramon, Cornelius, and Millie. It's been a minute. Hello. Kimberly, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, everybody, come on in. Cuff you, I'm glad to see you here. Synth is in the house. Foxy's here somewhere. I think my girl Tiff is here. Kel and Mama Pearl both here on a daily. Thank you guys. I do appreciate that. All right, guys, let's go. We got the strength, we got the love, and we got the prayers, guys. Let's get to it. You guys ready? All right, let's do it. YouTube bad actors, what's up? Go sub up to YouTube bad actors. YouTube's got a target on the Gray Pubes channel, and boy, is it funny. That guy complains more than he presents true crime. So go over there, follow YouTube bad actors. Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Lena, how you doing? Cheryl, good to see you. All right, let's roll. I got it. I got you guys. All right, check this out, guys. 16 rescued kids, age range 18 months to 18 years old, both boys and girls. 7 were taken to the hospital. 2 were airlifted to the hospital, and the 4 adults were arrested. Now, yeah, very, very much so, YouTube bad actors. Very much so. He puts a target on his own back. That's on him. Crystal, how you doing? All right, so look, you can see behind me, and we're going to show that a lot. This is this is no clickbait, so trigger warning to y'all. If you're going to be here and watch this, it's tough. It's tough. Thank you to Kathy. I took some of her images she sent me with the her logo stamped on there, so now we can see. Actually, I was going to show you this. I was going to show you the floor plan, and then, you know, the layout, which thanks to Kathy from K&H Crime Lab, go sub up to her. That, and then we're going to get into everything else that's happened and why the gag order, what that means, what's coming up next, and all the fun stuff. There's Grandpa. Grandpa freaking saw his family, right? He's out. He's in a hospital. They don't know what's going to happen with him. So we'll see. All right, guys. So there's the 4 parents that are the 4 people that are very culpable in this case. Elizabeth Siders, Gary Siders Jr., those 2 are married. Christina Siders and Gary Siders Sr. are the grandparents of the 16 children and the parents of Gary Siders Jr. All right, guys, come on in. Mama Sage, thank you so much. Good to see you, my friend. How you doing? Big hugs. I hope you guys are doing okay. Weather is crazy. In Texas, it's storming. In San Jose, it's hot. In Vegas, it's 103. I don't know, but hope you guys are all good. Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, the Gary Sr. and the yep, that not only just that, but you guys are gonna see how this could have been completely avoided. I don't agree with that. The kids have to live. All right, now check this out, guys. Check this out real quick. So the children are all finally out. All 16 children that were rescued were in immediate medical danger, 2 particularly. All right. 7 of the children were admitted for malnutrition. Guys, listen to this. Hold on a second. I'm going to put this up while I talk to you so you can see what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm not going to put the sound on, but I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk about this with it playing. So let me drop this down, take this off. I promise I'm going to play it again. I've got alternate versions. I've got slowed down versions. I've got pictures, and I've got other images that are not this one. So guys, when I say we're going inside the horror house of Ohio, I mean that. All right. So let me tell you about the kids and their infections. And guys, this case is one of abuse. However, we don't know the extent of the abuse just yet. We know there was obviously mental abuse because of the way that they live there, but we do not know if there were bruises, strangulation marks, sexual assaults. We don't know about that just yet. So what's going to be found in that house? It is a crime scene. What are they looking for? And where's the proof? That's what we want to know. But in the meantime, We do not need proof, my friends. All we need is the House to prove to us that. Let me tell you what happened to those children, my friends. How about that? Let me tell you a little quick story. First of all, I am glad to say that the children are all out now. But let me make sure you guys can see this. You're watching it as we go. I'm just playing it. All right, listen. 7 children were admitted for malnutrition, infections, and trauma. 2 of them were airlifted to Columbus National Children's Hospital. All have now been discharged from the hospitals, though several remain under patient care for physical and psychological treatment. Guys, you could see the infections, the malnutrition, and the outright trauma. What we don't know yet is their state of mind completely. They need therapists. We also don't know what their conditions are. Were they being raped by grandpa? Is there incest going on? Was there incest? Were the older children having, we just don't know what was happening here. Now, state child services have confirmed that each child is receiving trauma-focused counseling and development assessments. But we're going to talk about the $1 million plan. Now, foster care right now says the Ohio Department of Job and Family Services have placed all of the children in temporary foster homes across 3 counties. The siblings groups were kept together where possible, and the long-term plan is for the family services to pursue permanent custody pending the outcome of the criminal trial. Now, relatives petitioned for visitation rights, but those requests are under review due to this now lovely gag order that we have. All right. And the officials described the children as remarkably resilient, but they say the rehabilitation is going to take years. All right. And again, we don't know anything. We're not going to have names, photos, or any of that until the gag order is lifted. So I did want to tell you, as of July 15th, although there's not an official, hey, here it is, there is paperwork that shows or confirms, court paperwork, that Elizabeth Siders is in fact pregnant while being incarcerated. And they say it makes sense because, guys, she's been pregnant for every single year since she was pregnant, right? Since the time she started getting pregnant, she's been pregnant. So that doesn't surprise anybody. All right. So let's go through this together. I told you about the infections, all the stuff happening. I want you to take a look at this with me, and we'll get a little bit of, I'll put the sound on so you can kind of see. And then we're going to just knock through this, guys. There's a lot today. All right. Let's get to it. Thank you, guys.
16 children were living in this.
All right. I'm going to make it bigger. No, internet, don't do that.
Video allegedly from inside the Siders home. Look right there. You can see that fireball party bucket. Here it is again. Just look at the amount of trash and stuff just all over.
Let me go. How do I go slower?
Oh
on
my.
this?
Look at this room.
Not faster.
That is disgusting.
Look at. All right.
I personally believe this is the house. This video is legit.
Oh, it is legit. I've got several versions.
16 children were living in this.
I mean, look at this, guys.
Ages.
I mean, you can see some of the stuff that's there. It's hot, so there's a fan, right? There's a baby that's crawling around there. There's babies that have, still drinking from bottles, so to speak, crawling on the floor. I'm sure they don't walk just yet, but look at that. There's baby things there. I saw a car seat thrown about.
18 months to 18 years until they were removed, or I guess I should say they were rescued from this home on June 30th.
The corrosion.
You can see bugs. Look, the bugs are just crawling up the door.
Look at that. And guys, I can see where law enforcement calls this evil. And nobody in their right mind would let their children be in those conditions and have these infections and malnutrition. And again, we don't even know about the abuse, the extent of the starvation of, is there CSAM that happened? Are they what? Right? Let's continue. This is unbelievable.
As most of you know, their parents and grandparents have been charged with child endangerment
And you can see the bugs as this goes through. We'll go through it in some still frames, but you can see the bugs moving around as this person films.
And they've all pleaded not guilty. Well, it looks like they did have some food there. Investigators described it as some of the worst conditions they've ever seen. And now we know why.
I'm surprised the bathtub even has a bathtub
The
left.
toilet, ugh. Several of the children needed medical treatment, and 2 of them actually had to be flown to the hospital because of how severe it was.
You know what I'm actually surprised of, guys, is that the floor to the ceiling is not piled up with things. But I got to tell you, we're not seeing the 12 by 12 room, so to speak, that the children were locked in. We're seeing the rest of the house where the 4 adults are fully able to go through and do whatever the heck they're doing, whether it's nothing or whether it's nefarious. They were able to do that. I know it makes you want to just burn the house down, right? Just get rid of it. Get rid of the damn thing. Guys, there were warning signs, okay? Period. There are warning signs, and we're talking about those today. Hey, Kim Watts. Justice Jane. Nikki.
It's so sad to think that 16 children were forced to live like this. More than anything, I hope they're safe now and they're getting the help that they need. Pay attention to that door.
They're getting the help, guys. All right. You see the door. The window fell in there. Walls are coming down. Water damage everywhere. Bugs moving.
Remember
food.
I said pay attention to that door? I took a screenshot of it from the video. Look at this. And then here's a video I took when I put in the address on Google Maps. Like I said, I think these videos and photos are real, but everyone can watch it and decide for themselves.
They're real, guys.
This is a new video allegedly from inside the Siders home.
All right. So I just we're going to get back to it. Don't worry. I got you. We're getting through the whole story today, so to speak. So let me put this up again. Thank you, Kathy, for the floor plan. You can see, you saw the house inside. We're going to look some more. That's the front section, and you got the kitchen, the bedroom, dining room, living room, and then possibly, what's up, Chronicle? Possibly, let me see. Let's do this real quick so I can get this out of my way and see. Hide that. Okay, so family room, bedroom, bathroom, and then the mud room, bathroom, back living room. I'm pretty sure that there's a 12 by 12 that was on an overhang that might have been the floor, but again, I'm not seeing that on that floor plan. So the 16 by 16 and 12 by 12, that might actually be the area. Again, it's not verified yet, but you see throughout the whole house, that is the floor plan that we're showing, that we just showed a minute ago. All right. I'll take a look at that. And let's take a look at this real quick, because records are obtained and give a clearer picture about this case. All right. So let's get into that, since we have a giant list to get through today. All right. How's everybody doing? Michelle, good to see you. Mama Sage is in the house. Oh, I agree. I'm glad you guys are on the same page. Nope. I wouldn't do that either. That is not my thing. I don't know how they did that, but law enforcement, when they say evil, guys, you don't even know what they mean yet. We don't know that inside those cabinets and underneath the bed, there weren't zip ties on a regular basis and children weren't bound or gagged or essayed or filmed it. You have no idea. None of us do. So we're only looking at the 1,000-foot view from behind me and what we see in the house. We just frankly don't know that yet. But what I can tell you is today is July 15th, 2026. This was updated on the 14th, all right? In Columbus, Ohio. Guys, records that were obtained by NBC4 offer a clear picture of the Siders family life across nearly 2 decades. Okay, so we're doing that. Up until 4 adults were charged with 16 children were rescued from a Vinton County home. Now we have Gary Siders, 73, Christina Siders, 66, Gary Siders Jr. And well, that's Gary Siders Jr. and then that's senior, right? So 73, 66, 36, and 32. Elizabeth being the youngest. They were all arrested and charged with 16 counts of endangering children. Officials say the 16 children were rescued from the home and allegedly had been isolated in a 12 by 12 room, right? Some people say isolated, some people say locked up. The attorney general said one or more of the three or the children may have died if officers had not responded when they did. All right. Ohio approves $1 million to help the children in the Vinton County abuse case. I'll get into that a little bit later. Now, the case sparked numerous questions online. Obviously, we're here, including the curiosity about the family's past and the children and how they were not noticed sooner. All right. Public records to compile, NBC compiled records based on a timeline and compiled this below. So if you go back all the way to 2008, right? 18 years ago, at 15 years old, marriage records show Elizabeth Siders, then 18 years old, Gary Siders Jr., lived in the same street on Gallipolis, and the records showed that they went across the state border to Mason County, West Virginia, to wed at the courthouse in March of 2008. Now, at the time of their marriage, Elizabeth had an 8th grade education and Gary Jr. had a 9th grade education. All right. And you could see the undersigned duly appointed the Board of Education school district. I'm also going to show you that after. There's attendees from the Adaville Elementary School that are making complaints against Elizabeth and her guardians and the children's guardians about the children not being in school. And this dates back to the entirety of 2021 to 2022. So what do? They move and they hide out. Okay, so let's fast forward. They're married, moved to August 2009. Elizabeth and Gary Jr. had their second daughter in a Gallia County hospital. According to birth records, they show that they showed the couple moved to Gallia County home about 15 miles north of Gallipolis. I don't know how to say these names. By the time their child's second birth. Birth records from August 2009 through May 2016, they all list the same address, indicating that the Siders likely lived there for about 7 years. Now, during this period, Elizabeth gave birth to daughters in March 2011, March 2012, May 2013, and May 2016, and then gave birth to a son in September of 2014. So you could see there 11, 12, 13, 14, skipped 15, but then 16. All 5 children were born in Gallia County Hospital, or Gallia, I'm not sure how to say that. Now, the address falls within the Gallia County local schools. So a representative for the district said they cannot comment on students' educations when asked if the Siders' children attended the district or if they were listed as homeschooled. Now, 2017, and Gary Jr. was cited for driving without a booster seat, okay, to which he pleaded guilty and paid a $165 fine. Now, the traffic violation lists a new home in Gallipolis, however you say that, as his address. You guys can tell me, Gallipolis? In October of 2017, Gary and Elizabeth had another daughter in the same county hospital. Birth records list another new address, different from the address listed in the January 2017 traffic stop or on past birth records. So, guys, they've now got multiple locations that they're using the addresses for. Where are they living? We don't know exactly. But birth records and the county auditor record differ on which community the home falls under. But the address appears to be still within that city of Gallipolis. Now, the superintendent said the district had no records pertaining to the Siders' children, but if they had, they would be protected by student privacy laws. All right. So that's why when we ask these questions, we're only going to get so much. Gallipolis. Okay, Gallipolis. I'll leave that up there for a minute. All right. Happy birthday, Juanita Jones's son. 94, baby. Gallipolis. Gallipolis? Gallipolis. All right, cool. Let's continue. All right, let's fast forward to COVID, right? 2019 to COVID, Elizabeth gave birth to a son again in that county hospital, Gallia. Birth records reflect another new address just outside of Gallipolis. All right. Now let's rewind to 2020 COVID. Elizabeth gives birth to another daughter in the same hospital. Birth records reflect yet another home in Cheshire, about 7 miles up the river, up the Ohio River. Okay. 2 years later, 2022, court records indicate that 2 of the 16 rescued children were twins born on the same day in February of 2022. However, NBC4 was only able to obtain a birth certificate for one of the 2, a boy born at the hospital in Gallia County, or Gallia. The address, again listed on the birth certificate, is in Bloomer, Wisconsin. Property records list an address as miscellaneous agricultural property without a residential structure. So just land. All right. Now, November 2022, birth and death records do show Elizabeth gave birth to conjoined twins, Faith and Bailey Lee Siders, at 24 weeks in a Columbus hospital. Records show the twins died of natural causes within an hour of being born. Birth records of Faith and Bailey Siders list the same Cheshire, Ohio address as the birth record in September of 2020. Now, let's go ahead 5 years, January 2024, Elizabeth surprisingly gives birth to twins, a boy and a girl, in Athens County Hospital. Records list the same Cheshire, Ohio address on their birth records, and the home is in Gallia County School District. A year later, January 2025, Elizabeth gives birth to twin boys in Athens County Hospital. Man, this is like Groundhog's Day. It just keeps repeating and happening again and again. They were conjoined at the chest, which is a pretty typical conjoined twins. That's one of the most typical way conjoined twins are together, are by their actual like chest area. Some are by the head, but this was by the chest. All right. This is crazy. Nanny Goat, happy birthday, or happy Leo season. He's a Leo. All right. I mean, this is like Groundhog's Day. You wake up and it's the same thing again and again. Every freaking year, she just keeps popping out those kids. All right. So then she gave birth to the twin boys. We continue. She lost her conjoined twins. Now, fast forward to May 2026, guys, and this is what got them caught up, allegedly. Gary Siders Jr. allegedly exposed himself on 4 different dates to victims not within the household at his home on Omer Street in Hamden. The warrant for the case was issued June 30th, the same day officers arrested the 4 Sider adults. Officers said they initially came to the house for a parallel case involving allegations of domestic abuse and child neglect, but unrelated to this current case. So now on June 30th, law enforcement removed all 16 children. All right. Wilson said 7 of them, which I told you already, were at the hospital. 2 were flown to trauma. They're now out, and they're all placed in a safe environment and being cared for. July 7th, Gary Siders Sr. was hospitalized in Athens County after he fell. Did you guys know he fell? In the hospital, Archer staff said he was identified as serious medical condition requiring specialized care. Also, he was released on his own recognizance with GPS tracking, so the county didn't have to cover these hospital costs. He will be evaluated to see if he's competent enough to stand trial. The other 3 Sider adults remain in jail. And guys, that's probably where they are going to remain, in jail. I don't foresee any of that changing. All right, so let's continue. Let's do this. I have so much to show you guys today, but before I do that, let's take a look at, where's my $1 million approval? Well, let's take a look at the gag order, and I have those as well we can look at.
Since 16 children were removed from a Vinton County home. 4 adults are charged with child endangerment, including Gary Siders Sr., Gary Siders Jr., Christina Siders, and Elizabeth Siders. We've been following this story since day one when Attorney General Andy Wilson and other investigators described the conditions inside the home as deplorable.
Here is some of what they said 2 weeks ago about it.
This is pure evil.
Most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children.
Those comments are now under scrutiny in court and have led to a gag order in this case.
10 TV's Carla Rogner joins us in studio now. And Carla, what will this mean for the case going forward?
Yeah, the attorney for Gary Siders Jr., he's the father of those children, asked the judge for this gag order, saying that public comments from authorities could influence public opinion and jeopardize the family members' right to a fair trial. The judge agreed, and now attorneys, law enforcement, and others are.
And guys, a lot of people are going into that house and filming. It's a crime scene, so be careful. If you're out there, boots on the ground doing this, guys, be careful. That should have been mandated a long time ago. And that's what the brother was referring to, in my opinion. What was their end game? Well, their end game was to have as many children as humanly possible. What they were going to do with those children, I don't know, because they certainly weren't taking care of them. Come on in, guys. Colleen, good to see you. Deb, always a pleasure. Michelle just gifted a Guilty of Crime membership. If you receive that membership, please thank her. Welcome, Flojo TV. Y'all drop that link. Everyone should be subbed up to Flojo by now. All right? I like this, how they call different things, the hidden children on Omer Street. And I'm sure there's going to be a documentary before you know it.
Are prohibited from making public statements about this case.
This is pure evil. What we saw down here today is pure evil.
That is one of the comments made by Attorney General Andy Wilson that triggered this gag order. Arlie Roberts, who's representing Gary Siders Jr., wrote in his motion that the comments made by authorities could impact Siders' right to a fair trial. He wrote the descriptions of the children that have been issued by the public officials involved in this case seek to do nothing other than inflame the heart and passion of the potential jurors. We have previously heard similar concerns from the attorneys representing Elizabeth and Gary Sr.
You have sort of the state apparatus attempting to, in some ways, try this case in the court of public opinion, using hyperbolic and extreme language to describe this without, again, allowing us to even have an opportunity to view any of the evidence ahead of time.
The judge approved this gag order, agreeing that public comments could impact the ability to find an impartial jury. With this gag order in place, prosecutors, law enforcement, court officials, and defense attorneys will have to stay quiet.
And you guys could understand this, right? I mean, it's a small town. Everybody's talking. Even the people that are going to be called, right? The people that are going to be called, and I bet your ass that the lady from the dollar store is going to be called. Anybody that's done an interview with media and that has come in contact are going to be on the witness list to talk about what they saw. Okay, so they don't want this small town of less than 1,000 people in this little village to compromise their case, because now everybody can see all of it at any time, anywhere. So put a gag order. We want these children to get justice, and we want the adults to be locked up for what they did. Luna Wolf, thank you so much. She says, thanks, Jay. Love this channel and chat. Yeah, got you. Love you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Towards our goal. All right. And we're going back inside the house in just a minute. Scott, Scooter, hello. Good to see you. You're new here and never back down. Pam or Pamela, pure filth. Abuse. I was a teen. Pregnancy. I've never lived like that. That's beyond poor. Guilty. There's my friend under your scars. Hello. I'm still here. Storms, power outs, window cleaning. Choo choo. Jay needs a Red Bull. Thank you. I need a drink, actually. Oh, that was good. Yes. All children are good now. At the very beginning of this episode, I told you about that. They're very good. And yes, we love the guy reporting from the sofa. He's awesome, right? He's in the family, so to speak, right? Gary Jr. was babied all his life, and they did not receive services welfare. Well, let me tell you this, AC, real quick. All right, while I do this, I can tell you. Let me put a better picture up, though, before. Let me remove this. Get this. I got to clear out some of the things. Let's do this. Okay, so look at this is the bottom line here. They call it pure evil. You see this. They put it, defendant puts a motion for a gag order, and that's where we are. But listen to this, guys. The school system and juvenile court, listen to me carefully, did know about these children. Hey, Jamie, good to see you, my friend. Rita. They capital DID did know about at least 6 of those children and their non-attendance. They tried to intervene via the truancy law. And actually, let me pop this up so you can see the truancy law. The kids are okay right now. They've all been placed. Everyone is out of a hospital, my friends, because I know a lot of people are concerned, and rightfully so. All right. There is, in fact, right there on the 19th of October, 2021, the school district, Gallia County, Ohio, sent this via, I don't know if it was via mail or via, I'm sure, however they sent it to Elizabeth and the parents or guardian of the children regarding their attendance and failing to comply, failing to attend, failing to do anything, habitual truancy. You see this, right? They even got a case number. That was in 2021. Okay, so they knew. But let me tell you what else. They did know about at least 6 of them. Absolutely, it's on record. But you just heard my whole thing. The family couldn't be located. The case stalled and was dismissed. There's no public record yet of the truancy case triggering deeper CPS involvement. Now, public reporting is focused right now on criminal charges and truancy. CPS files are very confidential, so we don't know what they're doing. But the Ohio Attorney General's office said the case involves prolonged and extreme interfamilial neglect and abuse. Adults avoided creating medical and governmental records for the children, and officials explicitly said the children were not enrolled in school and the adults were hiding these kids. No doubt about it, because they knew they'd be removed if discovered. The state also approved the $1 million in emergency support for the children, which suggests a very high-level state involvement post-discovery, but not necessarily long-term prior to the monitoring. What's missing from public view are the CPS records. Those are typically sealed, guys. They don't have any public record confirming that. And the media coverage is focusing right now on the birth records, truancy, addresses, which we talked about. They were all over the place. So what happened, guys? We missed it. Everybody missed it. Why? Because the frequent moving and the shifting addresses, minimal official footprint from anybody, including the children, failure of truancy enforcement due to non-locatability, again, moving, isolation and concealment, and no prior criminal case focused on the children ever. And when it did, they didn't follow up. So how did they get lost? How did they move? How did the children get lost and hid for so long? They have multiple birth jurisdictions and records for the children. Fragmented information systems, school truancy, CPS, and criminal records are often siloed by county and not agency. We don't have much of that. There's also no public evidence that CPS got lost, that they got lost in the CPS reporting. It just seems that the combination of frequent moves, moving out to isolation in the country, and minimal records caused this to go so far. Why had they not been caught? Systematically avoided school, medical, and government contact. Okay, so I hope that makes sense to you. Now, let's listen. Let's talk about this for a little bit here about the school, since we're here. All right.
Or class as required by law. The child has been absent from school without legitimate excuse for the entire 2021-2022 academic year to present an amount in excess of 72 hours for the school year, and as such is thereby a habitual truant. Now, this truancy complaint is for 6 of the 16 Siders children. Of course, some weren't even born yet. The oldest at that time would have been 13. In the state of Ohio, it's illegal to not send your children to school. Parents have a duty.
So you see what's happening here. They purposely hid those children. What was their end game? That's a good question. Also, how did they get money? That's a good question, right? Again, we only know right now that they have a filthy house with deplorable conditions, and law enforcement said it's pure evil. What do they mean by that? We don't know yet. We don't know if the children were abused physically, sexually. I'm sure they were mentally. If you live in that filth right there with bugs and infections on you because there's feces and maggots and cockroaches and rats, that's abuse, guys. It was abusive and it was on purpose. All right. Howdy from Arkansas. Thank you, my friend. God is great. Shalom. Shalom. How do you say that? All right. Something's off. There's a lot off, my friends. All right. Let's listen in for a bit.
And an obligation to ensure the child is in school. The statute states that parents whose children are determined to be habitually truant and do not get their kids to school can face fines or even child neglect charges. Eventually, the complaints were terminated in January of 2022. A document states the court finds that Elizabeth Siders is unable to be served and the whereabouts of Elizabeth Siders are unknown to the court. Therefore, it is hereby the order of the court that the above matter be terminated until the availability of Elizabeth Siders. The same document was filed for Gary Jr., the named father of the children. The court couldn't find Gary and Elizabeth or the children. The children had to have been registered for school, but the school district said they never attended, not even for a day, it would seem. That raises the question, had the Siders already moved in 2021? Were they still in Gallia County or had they already moved to Vinton County? I have found records showing that Elizabeth had a P.O. box in Hamden as early as 2020.
And guys, I didn't even talk about the P.O. box. So now when somebody says, how did these children not get detected? You could now say, because they moved, because they avoided school, they avoided the government. They obviously avoided some kind of assistance. 6 of these children they knew about, but they got lost in the move.
And she and her family are listed as living in this house on Main Street in Hamden before they moved a short distance away to the home on Omer Street. People have been drawn to that house. I met several there over the weekend. They don't understand how something like this could happen.
Just curious about this whole situation, because how can a whole family live like that and no one know it?
Right. And that's our question of the year. But that was a rental house. All right. There was a rental house. They purposely kept them locked in. COVID did some of the trapping, but after COVID, the schools did inquire about the children and they got lost in that. All right. And somebody said earlier, that's not 4 years worth of trash. You're right. So what was going on in that house? All right. They could have gotten $2,600 a month for food. Right. That's all going to come out, my friends. Elizabeth applied for SSI in 2024 and was denied. Well, thank you. Thank you for all of the information helps, because there's 4 people right now that are arrested for this and 16 children that we're trying to keep track of. So a lot of things going on.
I wanted to see how close were neighbors. Usually in small towns, neighbors are friendly with each other, so how would you not know what's going on?
You live a couple counties away, right?
Yes, in Lawrence County.
So you live in Lawrence County. You came out here to see what was going on. This is out in the southeastern part of the state. Is it common for people to live like this with 16 children, filth, that you are aware of?
I mean, there are definitely places in each county, I'm sure, that have large families that have trouble taking care of everybody that CPS doesn't know about and doesn't step in.
All right, that's good. I didn't want to get into this whole thing. I just kind of wanted
16 kids in one family in one household, to be off the radar is something that I've just not seen.
Ohio's controlling board approved sending $1 million to the Department of Youth and Children in Southeast Ohio to help care for the Siders children. That amount could just be a drop in the bucket, though.
These kids are safe. They are being cared for. They are receiving treatments. And we expect there to be a lot more services that these children would need to address the traumas that they've received. And some of these things they'll probably be dealing with for life.
So to discuss all of these new revelations, I want to bring in...
All right, we're not doing this right now. I just wanted to get you to that. Let's drop this down and continue. 6 of the kids were known about, guys. All right, 6 of them. We're going to go back in for a minute. The gag order was approved. That's not what I wanted to show you. Let's go back into this. Before we start doing videos, I gotta walk you through this. All right. Here are the nasty alleged perpetrators. God, thank you, Cuff You. Cuff You sent me over to the Siders family crime page. I'm going to go through that just for a bit so you can see the still shots. That's where I got this still shot behind me from. That was from their house. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to figure out, Justice Jane. Is the evil like cages? Did they have zip ties and locks? Were they being essayed? And how do we know that? Did they have, guys, it wasn't full with trash like I expected. I thought it was going to be from wall to wall, ceiling to floor, but it wasn't. I agree. Wow, life is rough. Oh my God, I couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Yep, they certainly can, but they were locked in that room allegedly. All right, let's take a look at this. I wanted to go over this, and we're still going back in the house even further. So this family page is great. I wish I could change this to being a better pick. If anyone knows who's running this, I can give you guys a better picture. All right. Anyway, all right. So the crime page, they're asking for things for the children. You guys should definitely go check out this page. It looks like they're doing some damage control in the case. Guys, here are some very clear photos from inside the home. These are the stills from the video. Okay, so let's take a look together. We can't see it as well when obviously I'm taking up half the screen or when the camera's moving. And yeah, I don't think poor has anything to do with what they did. Poor has nothing to do with the disgusting, gross things that the children were found with and living in, the squalor. All right, that has nothing to do with how much money you have. That if they didn't have money, they wouldn't be able to afford a doll and toys and food. This house is not wall to wall, but look at that. Mom couldn't pull out a freaking vacuum, but she could have kids every single year. What is that? You know what that is right there? Probably. It's probably feces and mold, and then the water on top of it, and mice running through it, and bugs and cockroaches, and then you step on it, and then hairballs from cats and dogs, and that's what that is, guys. That's what that solid-looking block on the stairs is. It's just a bunch of yuck. All right? What wouldn't matter? Poor will succeed. Well, yeah, whether they had money or not makes no difference. They still lived in this nasty squalor, and they still hid the children and didn't put them in school. I know I gagged last week when I did this. I was literally gagging. It's so gross. But look, I mean, right here, did they wash their clothes? Throw some toilet paper up in there and wash the clothes? And then, I mean, you could see the bathroom, these still shots. The floor is coming apart. They said the floor was falling through, which means this family was probably going to move again soon. They say that Junior slept in the bathtub, and there's his toilet paper to wipe his ass. Too bad no one used it to flush properly, right? I mean, I'm actually really shocked that bathtub is not full to the brim with piss and shit and disgustingness, right? I'm surprised with that. That's the one thing that did surprise me. So I am now wondering why. I don't know about welfare, and I don't think their money status had anything to do with this. I'm sure they drank and smoked. We saw some of the cigarette butts and the alcohol on the floor, but nobody's talked about drugs. Oh, it wouldn't matter if they had a vacuum. I agree. It wouldn't matter if they had a vacuum from the very beginning and they damn vacuumed and swept. God, you could at least do that. That's disgusting, man. Thank you, AC. I'm going to leave that up because poverty does not mean filth and abuse. I agree. All right. Let me get back into those stills real quick. What is that? That's a refrigerator. It looks like nothing's in it. Again, I'm surprised there wasn't like a freaking baby fetus wrapped up in there, some birth that she had, some stillborn, or something just really gross that came out of the fridge. Don't see it so far, but everything just looks to be falling apart. Those are the stove maybe controls? I don't know. There's no controls on them. The things in the house, maybe they were there when they got there. I don't know. It looks like someone wiped their ass on their hands and then touched everything, right? Oh, blah. God, guys. Yeah, AC nailed it. Money doesn't matter in this case. Money matters, but it doesn't matter in this case. Look at that fridge, guys. What is that? You think they're going to come back and eat that? Yes, Ladybug. I was about to say that. So I'm in San Jose in the Bay Area. There are a ton of homeless people, and they keep their shit way tidier. They keep their tents clean. I swear, I shit you not. I'm going out there this morning to get my Starbucks, and they are out there on the sidewalk sweeping out their tents, guys. Sweeping out their tents, doing their chores, washing themselves, changing clothes, going to the laundromat. These people that live outside are not. Jamie says you're so crazy. Why am I crazy? Yeah, people are not. I mean, people that are homeless are not dirty or filthy or disgusting. They're just homeless. Okay? Not the nasty pickle. No, but they chose to have 16 kids and to continue. But what I can tell you, Purple, there may not be 16 kids, but I can go out any time of the day and find a homeless camp where there's more than 16 people that keep their stuff way tighter. They have a compound. Those people are living outside. They go and get free shit from everywhere, and then they steal your electricity, plug in a fridge, they got fans, they steal couches, they put couches outside, they're chilling. They bring all their stuff back to their camp, and they sweep and they do their cleaning. I'm telling you, I don't care if they had 16 kids or 30 people. Same thing. You're dirty, you're dirty, you're gross, you're gross, you're evil, you're evil. That doesn't have anything to do with it. Right. And that's the sink I put up on there. Again, I'm shocked that this sink is not just filled to the brim with shit. Right? Not poop necessarily, but yeah, it could be. I feel like there's going to be a cockroach running by that spoon right now. Just kidding. All right, yeah. Some are neat and homeless. All right. Yeah, there's a ton of people that, and hey, there's what's that damn show? 17 kids and counting, right? But then you find sexual abuse involved. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? We got to look that closer. And there's the baby doll that's behind me. All right. I want to get a freaking vacuum and just vacuum and throw all this stuff away. It's bothering me. Anyway, back to that. So let me get back up here. It's not funny, but if you can either cry or you can make the best of it, knowing, OG Nanny, that the children are now safe. They're out of the hospital and they're in a placement with $1 million funding that's going to come through soon for their care. So say a prayer for that, and let's be happy that the first step has happened for those children. All right. So anyway, this is the crime page. There's a lot of updates, pictures, a lot of people talking, right? Waiting for the supervisor to call me back. Vinton County Child Services. Why are the lines disconnected? There's a lot in this. I could probably spend the next hour just going through this, but I won't. Let's go through the video again. We'll do a walkthrough every little bit so we get it all. All right, I guess this could be the same one, huh? Let's do this. It's probably the same one.
How do you turn the light on? Let's just go. Fuck it. I can't. I need light, bro.
Cockroaches.
Cockroaches everywhere. Okay, go.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
This is the bathroom. Can you shine your light? Can you shine your light, nigga?
The couch?
How do you... This is their bathroom. No water. This is their bathtub. Come on. Let's hurry up. This is their kitchen. And this is definitely the house.
Oh my God, there's cockroaches everywhere.
Bro.
I want you to realize that this is a separate video than I showed you earlier. So if you came in earlier and you saw the inside of the house, you're watching it again from a different perspective. And they're telling you there's cockroaches running by. It smells terrible. And the couch was there. The couch was there. It was dirty, dingy, but the couch was there and there was nothing on top of it, my friends. There wasn't.
They're fucking running all around me.
Come on.
Oh my God. This is awful.
Oh my God, I can't see shit.
This is awful. It smells so bad.
Bro. Watch your
Look at
light.
the cockroaches running underneath your fucking feet.
Watch your light.
Why? There's something else out there. Come on.
Hurry up.
Oh my god.
This is the dining room. I'm taking it.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh my god, this is a
Look how bad
bedroom.
that is.
This is definitely their house.
Water squad.
All right. Bro, it's all the rooms.
Oh my god, this is so bad.
I'm getting out.
Dude, there's so many fucking cockroaches everywhere. Look. Look, you see right across the walls?
Bro, this is their room, but I don't want to go in
They're
there.
running everywhere. The whole house.
You're right.
Moving, everything's moving. There's food up in the cabinets. Bro, there's cockroaches running everywhere. Oh my god.
And guys, this is a crime scene. I paused that. Look at that. Look at that, guys. They opened the fridge, and this is a different picture than we saw. There's literally bugs crisscrossing each other. But guys, that's why they put a gag order on this case, because people can't stop talking about it. People can't stop wanting to go in there and see what happened. We didn't get any information about the inside of the house. So guess what? These people are going to go inside the house and get their own video footage. My goodness. Look at that. Look. Look.
Open the freezer.
Okay, you guys have to see now why law enforcement said this is pure evil. Did you see that right now? When we call it the House of Horrors, we're not playing around. I gotta go back for a second. I'm sorry, but let me see.
There's food up in the cabinets. Bro, there's cockroaches running everywhere. Oh my god.
Oh, it's in the water.
Open the freezer. Oh my god. It's still running. Oh my god, the cockroaches are running all over me. Oh my god.
I gotta get out, bro.
Yeah, I gotta get out too. It stinks. We already tried the water. The water don't work. Oh, it does work. It does work.
Does it?
Yeah.
The water works?
No.
I gotta get out. It smells so bad.
I got you.
Let's put it on. Oh my god. The cockroaches.
The water does work.
But there's
Got it,
roaches
yeah.
everywhere. Small ones, big ones.
Yeah, Dan's recording that. My storage is full.
There's beds in here. Yes.
Food, water, running. You
Bro,
gotta walk up. I got someone to walk up.
Keep going.
I need a light.
Go
man. I
left.
can't see shit.
Here, take this. Oh my god, it's so bad, bro.
It's not my fucking nose is fine.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
It smells so bad. Yes,
Everywhere.
cockroaches everywhere. The whole
This is
floor
definitely their
moving.
house. There's a Chevy S10.
Yep.
And I believe it's a Chevy Impala or a Chevy Malibu.
It's a van. Or
It's a Malibu
no, it's a Chevy Cobalt.
or a Cobalt Equinox.
Oh my god, it's so
Look,
bad.
there's a license plate.
We already
Google
see
the
a
license plate. Google the license plate if y'all don't believe this is the house.
It's a house,
It's
guys.
definitely the house.
It's so fucking bad. We might have to go back and do a video, but
Thank you, Dan, and your kitchen, Dan Kitchen, for that highly illegal video. Right? That was completely illegal. And how can you bring a newborn baby into that house, or 2 or 3 or 4? They were just going to continue having children. As a matter of fact, Elizabeth Siders is pregnant right now, and she wants to get out so she could be there with the children. There was water. They actually put the water on, and there was running water, my friends. Come out of the bushes, would you? If you receive that membership, would you come on out of the bushes and say hello to us? All right. Grandpa Paw, he's out right now. Let's get back into it. All right. So you saw the inside. We're going to go back. She's pregnant. 110% court documents say she's pregnant. All right. It took a while to get them to write it in the documentation, but yes, I don't have a pregnancy test. No, but in them, they say that. Now, they did have bites and infections. Many of the children, 7 of the children had infections and bites, 2 of them 24 hours away from death. All right. Okay, let's see what I got here. What do I got here? Hold on. This is let me do this real quick. Move this down. Let me find my next video. Before I do, let's take a look in the light. Real quick, I'm going to put this on and
Right
then
there, you can see that fireball party bucket. Here it is again. Just look at the amount of trash and stuff just all over.
Oh, I know what okay.
Oh my, look at this room. That is disgusting. I personally believe this is the house. This video is legit.
It is the house, guys. It's 110%
16
the
children
house.
were living in this. Ages 18 months to 18 years. Until they were removed, or I guess I should say they were rescued from this home on June 30th. You can see bugs. Look, the bugs are just crawling up the door. As most of you know, their parents and grandparents have been charged with child endangerment, and they've all pleaded not guilty. Well, it looks like they did have some food there.
Now, guys, I don't understand why Elizabeth wants to get out to have her children back, but what was she going to do with them? Why did she think that was acceptable when I saw other pictures of Elizabeth where she grew up in a home? Maybe she was abused, we don't know, but she grew up in a home where she had at least clean clothes, possibly no bugs. I've seen pictures of her opening a present and having a life that is not that of filth and infections. Right? So people with dementia don't care about bugs and stuff. And that's why they're trying to make sure that he understood. But you know what? When we keep coming back to, did grandpa understand? He understood certainly for the last 18 years. That's how many children have been coming. That's how many an 18-year-old all the way to 18 months. All right. Yeah, I agree. And guys, I love that for you. We're going today to also look at a therapist to see what she sees in these parents. Got to bring therapy into this, right? Got to. It's important. But before we do that, let me finish this.
Investigators described it as some of the worst conditions they've ever seen. And now we know why. That toilet, ugh.
Right.
Several of the children needed medical treatment, and 2 of them actually had to be flown to the hospital because of how severe it was. It's so sad to think that 16 children were forced to live like this.
All right, let's get off this now.
More than anything, I hope they're safe now and they're getting the help that they need.
And they are, guys. They are. They're all now relocated to a place and places where they are not dying from infections, etc. All right, let's take a look at this. There's a few minutes that I want to show you here, and we'll continue. Again, guys, we're talking about the Ohio House of Horrors. And what dark secrets are we going to find inside of this house? It's a crime scene. And what else are we going to find when we find out about the DNA and the birth certificates and how they relate to this family?
Age from 1.5 to 18 were allegedly found living inside a 12 by 12-foot room inside a dilapidated, feces-covered house in Hamden, Ohio. Much of the reporting has focused on the background of the young mother in this case, Elizabeth Siders. But of course, as we know, Elizabeth Siders isn't the only defendant. She wasn't the only adult who was living in that so-called house of horrors. No, her husband, Gary Siders Jr., his parents, Gary Siders Sr., Christina Siders, they all live there too. They've all been arrested. They're all facing criminal charges. But now, LA Magazine contributor Lauren Conlon has been doing a deep dive into this case to learn more about the rest of the family, how it was possible for such alleged atrocity.
All right, this is a few minutes. Lauren Collins been doing great. She's been boots on the ground. She's been to the court. And as you see, when court proceedings happen, we get some of it, but it's always nice to have them reporting on it. So let's bring her on, take a look at this, talk about this, and then continue inside the House of Horrors. What will the DNA birth records expose, along with the mental health side of it? we're going to talk about as well, because that's I think that's a key piece in this case.
Cities to go on for so long, and what she found out could change this case. Welcome back, Lauren. Good to see you as always. First, I just got to start with Gary Siders Sr.
Right.
There's going to be an evaluation about the insanity defense, about competency to stand trial, which, by the way,
You hear
is different than
that?
insanity.
Did
Just
you
that
guys
he
know
understands
that?
the case against him can participate in his own defense. What's going on there?
Yes, exactly, Jesse. As you said, these are two separate issues here, and a judge has ordered evaluations on both. So one, they are ordering a competency to stand trial evaluation because per Gary Siders Sr.'s attorney, when he was initially arrested and he was arraigned, he had no idea what was going on. He couldn't really identify.
But guys, when I show you back pictures of the family, there's a picture of Gary Siders Sr. sitting in front of the house that they currently are no longer in, the one with the cockroaches. Him and grandma are sitting outside of that house taking a picture and smiling like it's their birthday. So you can't tell me that he's been incompetent the whole time, because I can show you when he wasn't. And they're going to go for the insanity defense? That's why we got to talk about the mental health side of it as well.
The judge's role, not even his own lawyer's role. And so as a defendant, you really need to be capable to help with your own defense. And they're not sure that that's going to happen. Additionally, the NGI plea is being explored because he will be evaluated to see if he was possibly mentally incapacitated during the time that this alleged crime occurred.
Right.
However, it does seem like, from what we know so far, this neglect or alleged neglect was ongoing. So we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, Jesse, it does seem like, yeah, he might have some diminished capacity here.
And that's interesting for insanity. Usually it's about one isolated incident. If you talk about a prolonged period of time, you have to show that he was insane throughout that whole period. Let me ask you this, because the way this all started, right? Early reports suggested that the first search, how this was all discovered by police, right, stemmed from a warrant for Gary Siders Jr.
Now, for some reason, nobody is giving a straightforward, just yes, no answer. And they are saying that that case in parallel had indecent exposure, but also some kind of domestic violence in it. So they're talking about that case paralleling it, but I mean, we're not 110% certain. And we did see marks on Elizabeth Siders, but for some reason, to me, it seemed more like it was something that she might have done. Maybe she liked to cut. I don't know that she was. Nobody ever said that she was bound or tied up. Nobody was, but let alone the mom that keeps giving birth year after year. She has not even 2-3 months to heal from having a child, and then she's pregnant again just to give birth to 2 more kids at a time. She had 4 sets of twins. One set was conjoined and they passed away within an hour of their life.
Public indecency case, but I understand you learned that might not be accurate.
Yes, I thought it was from these charges as well. There's about 4 separate charges for public indecency in May of 2026, but his lawyers kind of spoke out and said, look, I don't think this is the case. I would be very surprised if this was the case, that, these investigators showed up at the house, kind of guns blazing, if you will, for a public indecency charge or 2. So we don't know at this moment why they were at the house, but hopefully we will find out soon.
But just to be clear, they're not saying, oh my gosh, police didn't have the proper warrant, that the search of the property wasn't lawful. They're just saying,
no, we're not going to go there with Gary Jr. I absolutely do not believe Gary Jr. is any type of victim. As a matter of fact, he was 18 when he met Elizabeth, the mother of all of the 16 children allegedly, and the 2 that passed away. I think Gary Siders Jr. is just a little spoiled piece of shit that was spoiled by his parents and not taught right, then able to marry a 15-year-old and do what he wants. And he looks smug in that picture, almost as if, hey, I'm the king of this castle. They do what I say, and I'm going to continue having as many kids as I want. He looks pleased with himself in that picture, and he looks the least amount abused. He looks like maybe he just finished drinking a fifth and smoked some weed, but he doesn't have any gray hairs. His hair doesn't look like it's like Elizabeth. He's got a haircut. His face is semi-shaved. He doesn't look nearly like any of the other people. I think he was one of the ones that was pulling the strings after Daddy Gary Siders and Grandma Christina were done with them. All right. Cousins? No, that's wait, who? No, nobody's cousins. Pino, what's up? He's covering that as well. Go check out his channel. All right, let's get back to this. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're not too hot today. We all love you, Pino.
They went in, they probably knew something else.
Correct.
Okay.
It seems like at this point it was about something else. We just don't know what that is.
Local station WBNS 10 spoke with employees at a Dollar General who recognized the family. We've all been wondering, did anybody notice anything about them? So what did these people know in the store?
Yes, this is really interesting. I've seen several interviews with locals and yes, including a Dollar General employee who stated that members of the Siders family, namely Elizabeth Siders and Gary Jr., would come into the store at night is when they saw them. And there was a pretty terrible odor to the point that this employee said she kind of had to Lysol when they.
And again, I know we watched that interview and people were kind of like, man, that's what context is that in, right? What does that do? Well, it does, because she's going to be a witness on the stand as well. And Kim, it's very generational, in my opinion, after looking at this family and listening to what Elizabeth Siders' brother said about this whole thing. And then you look at the cousin was 48 years old when he married a 14-year-old girl that he groomed. She's now coming out and talking about it. Yes, she was 15. He was 18. And they signed off on it. They went to another state to get married. This is poverty-driven, depression, and poverty together with use of no resources. These are poor people. We need to help less fortunate. Teresa, I am 110% with you when it comes to poverty and depression. However, these people evaded the government and didn't want their resources because they hid the children. They wanted them hidden and to keep having them. So I'm going to have to agree with you and then also disagree that these people are beyond poverty stricken. All right. There's mental health involved and many other things. Yes. Stop the rinse and repeat. I agree.
Would come into the store, and when they would leave the store, they would generally buy diapers and chips. Sometimes they wouldn't have enough money to pay. Again, their hygiene was very, very poor. But she said this wasn't uncommon because this area is just so impoverished. And Jesse, I've been researching the Vinton County, Ohio area. I mean, the median salary here is $55,000. And you know, it's very, very small. I think this is actually the smallest county in Ohio.
It's very small. They call it like a village or something like that. Now, Mo, this is great. If this is the case, family members confirmed that Elizabeth and Gary, the mom and dad, are distant cousins, and she used to go over there to hang out when she was 13, and then by 15 they were married. If that's the case, Mo, it's going to come out because of the DNA. And guess what, my friends? Incest is against the law. Should I even have to say that? We're in 2026. Do we even need to say that incest is against the law? I mean, that's kind of like saying having sex with animals is against the law, right? Does that really need to be said? But it does, because sometimes people in other places that have farms, and even nowadays, if you go on Law and Crime, mom and dad having sex with the dog and filming it. What is wrong with these people? Yeah, and I don't know how much minimum wage is in Ohio, but this is beyond that. All right, this is beyond the
Ohio. Additionally, only 13% of people there are college graduates.
And I wonder if that's going to be a defense. What else did you expect us to do? It's not like we were neglecting the children. This is the best we could do given the circumstances. We have 30 seconds, Lauren. You've reviewed Facebook posts from the niece of Gary Sr. and Christina. What have they said about their aunt and uncle? I apologize. We only have about 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, the niece is kind of speaking out, saying it doesn't seem like her aunt and uncle would neglect these children. So she's kind of thinking, you know, is something wrong with them mentally? She did say in her experience that Gary Siders Jr. could do no wrong. He was, you know, kind of like the golden child, if you will. So, you know, I think that, again, I'm tracking everything on Facebook. I'm tracking what the family says. But until law enforcement confirms certain aspects of this case, so much is still unknown.
So much really is unknown, including if these allegations are true. How are they able to operate like this? Lauren Conlon, excellent reporting, and thank you for coming on as always. Appreciate it.
Like I said, I didn't know in 2026 that you even have to say incest is illegal. So fifth cousins, obviously that's weak and no one's gonna say anything. Yeah, bestiality. I couldn't think of the name. Bestiality is illegal. Incest is legal, but we shouldn't have to say that. What the hell? Well, we don't know, Jamie. You have no idea if there's incest yet. The reason I'm talking about that and the reason law enforcement is even doing DNA testing is to make sure the children belong to who they say they are. And you don't know what they found inside. You don't know if they found a bottle of lube and some toys that they've been sexually assaulting these girls with or we have no idea. We don't know what lies inside, but incest can be there. But when we get DNA records back, we'll find out. So I'm not going to say there's not either. I didn't say that it's incest if they're fifth cousins. I never said that. I don't know about that. I've never studied incestuous relationships because I never thought I would have to. I never thought I'd have to even say that. Right? Let's talk a little bit about the mental health side. This is all in my description, guys. And again, I've got lots of different sources I'm pulling from today. So we're going to listen a little, talk a little, and then get back into the next thing.
Especially.
Oh, by the way, if you guys are coming in now or you're leaving, do me a favor, hit the like button on your way out or your way in. Drop a comment. I will gift another membership. So I'll be making up for the memberships. I know Foxy used to do it every day at $4.20. And hey, the price has gone up, but I will try my best to do one a day with y'all. And I pay for that. So that way she can do hers $4.20 when she can. And I'll just make sure y'all are getting memberships. All right. You're going to want that for members only Monday.
In very impoverished areas, and you may not have 16 kids, you may have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever, in very similar conditions directly in front of us every damn day. And if anybody's pretending that this isn't going on everywhere, you're not aware. You're not awake. You're not paying attention.
You're not woke.
My reaction was, this is not rare. This is just one that's being exposed because it has a big number in front of it.
Exactly. 100% right there with you. I worked with a case many years ago in California that had some similarities, but it was only 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. It did not hit the news in any kind of a big way. And I can't remember who turned the family in, but somehow CPS had gone out there and found these horrendous, filthy living conditions with dirty diapers just piled up, soiled animal feces throughout this home. And the children were toddlers. And so fortunately, they were rescued out of that. They didn't live in it for years and years. But one of my roles was to try to determine, are these people capable of parenting again?
Again, mind you, when we look at the house, it's not stacked from floor to ceiling like I thought it would be. When you watch all of the hoarders and all that, and you see it stacked from ceiling to wall, and they had a couch. The couch was nice and empty. It was dirty AF, but boy, did they have a couch to sit on. I don't know how the F they could sit there while the bugs were crawling and just duplicating again and again and again. But I just looked this up right now, and Matt Von Swall has some pretty breaking video footage of the inside of the house. Another version where, mind you, 2 of the children that were in the level 1 trauma center because of their conditions were 18 months old. All right. I gotta get this to you. It just came out. You've been here for over 2 years. Thank you, my friend. Jay's covering this case respectfully. Thank you. Member for 25 months. I appreciate you so much. Let me get to this real quick. All right, look at this, guys. This and I agree with the pure evil. We don't even know what else is in there. Look at this, man. People are now look at this. Maybe they're on the spring. Maybe they're on the spring. Look at that, guys. As soon as it starts, bugs are. Tell me that's not evil. Yes. Joe's apartment. Yes.
Hello.
Hold on real quick. I got it. 1 second, guys. They're peeling it back. Oh my God.
Hello.
So you guys can see people are motivated to go in there, and they're motivated to film this and get it out there what was happening. Sultry Jasmine, my goodness, guys, since this is hard to stomach, I just want to break it up with a little something funny. You see Joe's apartment. Joe's apartment was all about cockroaches. I'm obviously not going to play the music, but I'm just going to put it on for a second of what that house looks like. It's Joe's apartment. I know, me too, but that's being videoed by the people that are not supposed to be in the house. I know, no gloves, and they're just ripping it apart. You know what all that is? Those are cockroaches moving those things. And as soon as I popped onto that breaking news video, there was bugs and bugs and bugs, and I can hear them peeling the clothes off from each other. All right, so there you go. There is the Siders house. We don't know who Joe is just yet. Well, we know who Joe is. If you know about Joe's apartment, it's Jerry McConnell. You know, I believe I got his name. Jerry, what is his name? I don't know. But Joe's apartment, look it up. All right, look it up. That's a movie. You remember that, Mab? Look at that. That is the house, man. Might as well just put that there and be like, oh, yeah, this is a crime scene. All right, let's continue. FLDS does not consider, I know they don't, but it is illegal. All right. They in jail and they are clean, right? Otherwise, someone's going to sit there and be like, go back to the shower. Go back. Jerry Connell. Yes. Thank you. I said O'Connell. Okay. That's Joe's apartment, my friends. If you're not of that age where you know when MTV came out and this movie, go find Joe's apartment. It's right on YouTube and it's for free. It's an hour and 19 minutes and you can watch it right now if you want. Well, not right now, but you can go watch it when we're done here or right now, whatever you want. All right, let's get back to this for a moment.
And I did not believe that they were. But that was what was going on in that case. You had some mental illness. You had people who were not terribly bright in the first place. There was some abuse going on. The wife was being abused by the husband. But the really scary thing, what kind of work did they both do? Fast food. They both worked. I won't say which.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go forward a little bit because I don't care about the other couple. I want to hear about this. What are we talking about?
How much? I'm going to follow up one more because Tony and I were talking about this yesterday with this case. You know, we're doing the best we can to solve all the problems of the world yesterday when we cover cases like this. And I know I've had very close people in my own life that were able to, I wouldn't say save themselves, because I don't think anyone goes in kind of save yourself mode. They just have an experience that saves them because of a good, rich, healthy experience. And it didn't take much. It took a summer camp and going to a summer camp with good exposure, good, healthy people that they could recognize a yin from the yang. You know, a lot of times we don't know the horrors we're in unless we have context. And like the poor children here don't have context, except this is the only lifestyle they know. That's why some of the descriptions come out as so horrendous. So going to that, how much does it take? What does it take to give, and what kind of exposure and at what ages do you think it would take to kind of infiltrate a sect of our society that is impoverished? There's because we were talking about it yesterday too, you know, that when the tax base in this local area or even a state doesn't support any services, what can you do? Does it something like a camp, can it make a difference? Is it a volunteer? Because again, the child welfare system and a lot is overwhelmed. Even though you have great people, you have people in there taking advantage, you know, from the welfare state, being able to, you know.
Are you answering your own question and saying your own question? Because he still hasn't got to that. He still hasn't got to it, and I'm waiting. But anyway, Mo, thank you for being a member for 18 months. Doesn't surprise the toddlers were the worst. We all know that 18 months old toddlers do. Everything goes into their mouth. Poor babies probably ate something that made them deathly sick. Right. That's just a part of the abuse that we know about. All right. Watching on my TV so I can post. Well, hello, Jody. Good to see you, my friend. Lexi, they served food to people. I don't know, I guess. But that's why you see why they call it evil. right? That's just a fraction of what we saw. Oh, they had a mattress, okay, and they had a couch, and then the couch there was no cushion, so maybe they sat on the springs. All right, I don't know what he's saying. I didn't hear this yet, but it was playing, and I was like, this is interesting. Let me
Make
see.
money off of having more kids. I mean, it's so twisted.
But that's not what they did here.
Long narrative question to what is it? What can you do at that lower grassroots level?
Well, I think your point is well taken about just even any kind of corrective experience like a summer camp can do some good for a child and can help them gain a perspective that there is another lifestyle out there. There's another way to be in the world. But for kids who are this deprived, who have, some of them don't even know how to communicate normally, apparently they don't have speech. This is going to be a tough road, and they're going to really need to be in a permanent, safe environment with normal people who can model for them everything that they've missed growing up developmentally. They need lots of support, ideally some therapy, that would probably go on for a long time. And really you're looking at trying to, the rest of their lives, undo these early years.
And that makes sense. 110% the younger group are going to have probably maybe a harder time initially, but once they get past that, like 2-3 years old, it will be ingrained in their routine. I actually think that the older ones are going to have a lot more damage, not because they're older, but because they've lived like that their whole life and they really don't know. That's why they didn't talk, guys. That's why when the law enforcement came in and said this 18-year-old is going to be charged, they're charging as a child endangerment for this 18-year-old. That's why, because she didn't talk. They said she didn't know how to write her name. Well, come to find out, she has social media and people were talking to her. They got away with this for 18 years, Faith over Fear 2.0. Over 18 years because they had an 18-year-old. All right. So, I mean, what she's saying, I'm going to pull this down for a minute. It's too long-winded for me right now. I will get back to it. But this House of Horrors, the investigators using birth certificates and DNA, and this segment, my goodness, this is like, it's the next chapter in this freaking case. Let's start off with here.
All right, my wife will take the last $5 out of her pocket and buy somebody a meal, and chance running out of gas to get home. If we didn't know this was that way, we would have helped.
Yep. So for more on where the investigation stands now, I want you to hear my conversation with LA Magazine reporter Lauren Conlon, who's been.
She's everywhere, but no, it was really good conversation, and it's extended past what we saw with Jesse.
All over this story.
Not
hey, Lauren,
same,
it's good to see you. This is such a just a disturbing case on so many levels. Everything about it. I was kind of skeptical that like all 16 kids were born in the hospital, but the new reporting I'm seeing is that there are birth certificates for all of them. Is that true? And if so, do we know how then did the officials not keep up with these kids and they just sort of disappeared off the radar?
You're right, Brian. So it was ABC6, a local affiliate, who actually was able to pull all of the birth certificates for all 16 children. And they confirmed that all
right. So guys, I'm just stopping for a second so we know that you heard this. Okay. Again, inside the House of Horrors, I think I showed you a lot of the inside for multiple views. So we can check that off as far as our clickbait list goes. All right. Mama Sage, good night. To Deb Stearns. Deb, I just texted you. Where are the baby formula or diapers? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. None of that makes sense. There's just a ton of bugs running around and rotten food. What happened? Oh, yeah. You came at the perfect time, my friend. All right.
of them were born in hospitals, which is interesting to your point, because, I'm thinking back about when I gave birth, and, women out there, you guys can sort of think back or remember way in here, but we had to either write down the name of our pediatrician or, the hospital would assign one to us initially. And then from there, it was kind of like, well, if you don't make these appointments, someone's got to hold you accountable, because the hospital has all of this on record. And at least this was in my experience. And so I go back to what happened in between.
Hey guys, I've been on the road so much lately. I've been distracted.
All right, we don't need your. We like and cut.
Siders, Gary and Christina or Lynn Siders were getting checks from the government, which is mind-blowing to me. And
you hear that? So some of them were getting checks, and that may have been where some of the money came from in order to rent these houses. Now, I ask you, well, I don't ask you because you're not going to know. I asked the people that were renting this house out, did they have to fill out an application? Did they neglect to fill out an application? Did they just say, hey, as long as you pay your rent, we're good? And Faith Over Fear 2.0, you really got to go back and watch this because I broke it down how nobody knew. But because you are here now, I can give you the 1,000-foot overview of how they didn't get caught, okay? And the 1,000-foot overview is of them frequently moving and shifting addresses, minimal official footprint, including medical and government records, failure of truancy enforcement due to non-locatability, which means they moved, isolation and concealment of all the children, and no prior criminal case focused on the children. What focused them on the children was their father with an indecent exposure investigation, 4 of them, as a matter of fact. That's what brought them to the house. All right. CPS didn't even try. They didn't even know. They kept moving. If you go back to the beginning of this episode, I read you an article and it tells you it's like Groundhog's Day over and over and over. Just keep repeating.
And I'm kind of wondering, did Gary and Elizabeth Siders not know this was an option? I keep going back to like, okay, well, Elizabeth finished the 8th grade. Gary finished the 9th grade. Gary Siders Sr., he might have some, I guess, diminished capacity here that he's working with. So maybe he didn't inform them that they could be doing this. But I have a lot of questions. And I think that one of the biggest is the state. Why did nobody from the state, no one?
Exactly. I believe it's because they kept moving. And guys, they were trying to hide. Okay. They were hiding. They kept them. The neighbors didn't see them. They actually did go out of their way to hide the children. So when people say they didn't see them moving in, no, they probably moved at night, guys, right? They like to go when the cockroaches go. So at night is a perfect time to move. You're out in the middle of freaking nowhere. There's not a lot of houses around. So get the kids, throw them in whatever, and bring them over at night. All right. Hope I stop because I want you guys to help Mabs to get to 5,000K. All right. Go sub up to him. How can you do that to a loved one? I don't know how they could do that to their babies at all. When we had a baby guilty 11 years ago, oh my God, guys, I was like, everything needed to be perfect and clean. And I mean, not even just clean, but like I'm OCD about stuff. And let me tell you, baby guilty is very lucky to have us. We go above and beyond that, but I can't even fathom that doll giving that doll to somebody's dog in the backyard. It's disgusting. That's a doll from the house. Okay. I don't understand how they can do that to their children. I really don't. I know as soon as I pressed play on that X video, the cockroaches started moving and I didn't expect that.
From CPS know about these kids.
Did you see the one family member who posted on Facebook something about how they just have low IQ? Like that's what happened here. It's not more complicated than that. It's not evil. It's just low IQ, which I just don't buy. I mean, you can have low IQ, but that doesn't mean you would have 16 kids living in squalor to the point where it sounds like at least one is in really, really bad shape or was in really bad shape, even health-wise.
2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, I did see that. That was one of Elizabeth Siders' brothers, I believe. And look, this is tough, Brian, because I feel like it's really hard for a lot of us to comprehend. We are fortunate and what we, I guess, see in our lives is much different than what these people see. So, just to sort of deter from your question for a second, local reporters also spoke to an employee at the Dollar General who came in contact with a few members of the Siders family who would pop in. They said mainly at night. They had very, very poor hygiene is what this employee said, but that wasn't really uncommon for such an impoverished area. That didn't make them, think anything of this. And they would mainly buy chips and diapers, this guy said, and sometimes they didn't have enough money. So I'm thinking about, the fact that Elizabeth had, I think it was 3 sets of twins, ages 4, 2, and 1. That's 6 toddlers. I mean, I've had toddlers. You have to change their diaper, multiple times a day. We're talking like 5 to 6 times at a certain point, within a 12-hour period. Do you think these kids had that type of attention on them? No, absolutely not.
Guys, I don't even think they wore diapers. I think their mom just let them just run around like that naked and let the bugs crawl on them, inside of them, around them, right? That's why hashtag infections, right? And the more and more I look into this, guys, there's another video that just came out. And in this video, it's inside the home. It includes what is believed to be the children's bedroom, where they kept all of them with feces and a filthy mattress, and the toilet, cockroaches everywhere. I'm going to pop this on. I don't know what people are doing, but they're going over there and getting the boots on the ground. Don't worry, I'm going to come back to it. But my episode is called Inside the Ohio Horrors Home today, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go inside of that.
This is the whole front of the house. As you see,
I'm looking for that room.
Tractor over here at a window covering up the side window. I'll tell you, this is our second time going in. It's very, very bad.
Second time going in.
Cockroaches are moving all over. All right, I'm covering my face. Looks like this might have been a room that the kids stayed in.
There it is, guys.
Like. There's baby dolls.
There's the doll.
Yeah, I know. I see this shit. This is like inhumane. Yeah, I see this shit.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah.
That's so bad.
Even shit on this fat from one of the kids. You can see there's cockroaches running all over. I didn't go to this. There's the bathroom. Here. The floor, you can see it's moving around.
All right.
There's the toilet.
Do a minute videos. Or we can cover.
There's the freezer.
Bugs here.
Looks like there was some kind of milk in there. Looks like some kind of bedroom. There's still a fan on and a heater. Looks like some kind of bedroom. Cockroaches everywhere.
You know, I looked at that dresser to see if I saw anything out of sorts, and we don't even know what they found yet. I saw different bottles of different oils and lotions and maybe even lube, since good old Elizabeth just kept getting knocked up. Again, this is the second time these people went into this house. This is the third video that I've showed you with a different perspective, and 4 times to show you the house with the stills, and 3 separate videos, guys. And welcome Tiffany from Mexico, right? Eating sheetrock. I wouldn't put it past them.
This looks like this is the living room. Dining room and living room. Hey,
sounds like a car.
No, it's not. This is the bedroom out front. It's so bad. All right, we're out.
The water works.
Deep freezer. The water works.
Here, I'll show you.
Put the water on. They did have water.
Look underneath.
All right. Yep. Well, let's get the fuck out of here. Come on. Whew. Again, this is the Hamden house. Come on, Dan.
Guys, this video is not getting monetized, so if you could, hit the like button, share it, hype it when you get an opportunity, and I didn't even have to say it. Help towards our goal. Thank you, Rose. I appreciate you with the $5 super sticker. Thank you. All right. Maybe that's what the vegetable oil is for. Yeah, right? Hey, welcome, Patty from New Hampshire. Welcome. Come on in.
Come on. Come on, bro. Come on. Stop taking a shit in this toilet.
What the hell?
All right, this is the Hamden house. It's bad. It's real bad. You smell it from the outside. Oh my God. You want to talk about filth? That's in.
And there's the chair where Grandma and Grandpa Siders were sitting at years ago in front of the house, smiling. They look like different people. They're almost unrecognizable.
Maine. Listen, I've been poor all my life, and I've never lived like that.
Nope.
That's lack of knowledge, being poor. That's inhumane. I tried to give the lady the benefit of the doubt because she's 13 since she was, kind of given away to.
I think we've seen just.
All right. Wow, guys. See, man, thank you so much, Luna Wolf. WY, thank you for the gifted membership. Guys, if you receive that membership, please thank Luna. And don't forget to, when you get your membership, try to keep it up, all right? Try to keep it up so we can do lots more members only Mondays and giveaways. Thank you, Luna. I appreciate that. Yeah, man. I mean, this is far beyond poverty. You know, you guys understand that, I hope.
I just feel like, yes, low IQ would be a part of it. But also, you know, they're very, very impoverished.
Mhm.
And I mean, you're right. I just about like, you know, I don't buy that it's like they didn't know any better, but I just don't know if it's evil at this point. But there's so many things that we don't know. It's hard to say that conclusively, but I'm having a hard time now saying, okay, they did this on purpose. They only cared about themselves. It doesn't.
Well, I don't think they did it on purpose. I think over the amount of time of just popping out kid after kid after kid and living that way, that was their normal, that was normalized to them. And I mean, what was Elizabeth doing all damn day while the babies were crawling around in feces and with bugs? What was she doing? Now, the evil part, guys, get ready, because the evil part, I don't even think that we've scratched the surface of that yet. We do not know what else they found in the house towards not only the conditions, but what was being done to those children. What abuse was inflicted on them? How are they disciplined? Were they disciplined? We don't know. We don't know any of that. Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. And when we actually find out everything that we need to, guys, you need to be way above poverty to keep up with 16 kids. Poverty doesn't equal filth, though, however, right? At all, whatsoever. Vicky, it's been a while. Welcome. Glad you're back. All right, let's continue.
Sound like they were taking great care of themselves either.
Do we know why the investigators ended up at the house? Because there were the reports initially about indecent exposure, that there may have been like a warrant or an investigation involving, I guess, Gary Jr. and indecent exposure. But now I've heard that that's not necessarily why they came. Do we know?
Investigators are not confirming that is why. But yes, initially, many of us were reporting that as the reason. There was about 4 different instances or charges of indecent exposure in May of 2026. And they were about 3 or 4 days within each incident, I guess. So the criminal complaint doesn't tell us exactly what happened during those incidents, but I did see an interview on a local news station with Gary Siders Gary Sider Jr.'s attorney, and he stated that he did not think this would be the reason. I mean, that they would come, you know, storming in here. So what is the reason? I don't know. That's part of the mystery here.
Again, I don't know why everyone keeps asking that question, but I guess there's nothing that exactly points that, but when you look at all the information and the warrant and the search warrant, how they got there, it leads you to one thing: that parallel investigation of indecent exposure and domestic violence that they referred to in the beginning. All right. And I did want to give you a big prayer, Vicky. I see everybody here is saying prayers for you, and we're sorry for your loss. I didn't mean to skip that over. I just kind of read it real quick and was moving forward, but we all send you huge prayers. I'm glad to have you back. All right. Thank you.
Has there been any kind of update on the condition of the kids since we first heard about this?
Well, investigators and the county attorney have said the kids are all in foster homes. They're getting the care they need. They're getting the attention that they need, and they're all doing very well. They've stated that DNA testing is still underway, although, you know, it is interesting. I heard that last week at a press conference. However, the birth certificates were obtained by ABC6, which stated that Elizabeth and Gary were both the father and mother of these kids. So, you know, I am wondering, I guess, what the DNA testing could be for additionally, if anything. Maybe they just want to double check. But yeah, the kids are doing okay so far. And also, there was a Facebook post that had surfaced of this alleged foster mom. Again, investigators have not confirmed, and law enforcement hasn't confirmed. But this foster mom had said to somebody in a response that she had 2 of the Siders girls, and they confirmed that their mom was pregnant with the baby girl, which I thought was, I guess not shocking, but I, with what we're dealing
Wait,
with here.
say
but
that
also
again,
was
because I'm just trying to follow. So the foster mom posted what?
She posted in response to some question that she had 2 of the Siders girls in her care, and they told her that Elizabeth Siders is currently pregnant right now.
Really? So is there? I wonder though if that would have come out in the proceedings somehow.
Okay, so we're getting a little bit of tea from Lauren. She does do a fantastic job. However, the people that are taking care of the children should not be posting on social media, right? And they shouldn't be telling us these things, because you can lie on a birth certificate, but you can't lie to DNA. I mean, yeah, you could out Jesus as the father if I want to, right? Birth certificates, you can write down Barney as the father, or Tinky Winky, or whatever you want. You can put anybody, you can put Brian Etton's name on it, right? All right, you don't have, it's not even about birth control. She didn't want birth control because her goal in life was to have as many children as humanly possible. She didn't want birth control. Well, don't you think birth control would be that house? The moment I would get hot and heavy and I see a cockroach running past my mattress on the floor that had that shit on the floor, that would be enough birth control for me. How about you guys? I've been thinking about baby Preston Davy in England. Horrific. Well, Pink Pepper, do me a favor. You have my email address. If you want to send me an email about that because you want me to cover it, let me know. guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. It's going to scroll by here in a bit. Nope, they shouldn't have messing with the gag order, but we're still going to find out things from the family. All right? We are, but they shouldn't do that.
Now, like when they were discussing like her in custody and how she should be treated. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've seen that come out before when people are in court and they're pregnant.
Well, if you remember, during that initial arraignment, Elizabeth Siders, this is the only time we've seen her, or any of them actually, attempt to speak. She attempted to say something to the judge. I couldn't quite make it out. You can find this clip. And the judge was like, I need to remind you, you have the right to remain silent. Whatever you're about to say, this is not the time to say it. So who knows what she was going to say. But I did see her attorney, she's getting care packages in jail. And also her brother posted her booking number so people could find her booking number in order to send her these care packages, which again, her attorney isn't saying much about if this is true or not. He hasn't really addressed it at all. Neither has law enforcement. So I don't know if this is factual, but I'm also like, why is this person saying this on Facebook? Isn't this, this is seemingly private, but I guess this is a very national case at this point. So
yep.
When it's a small town, it seems like people just kind of talk, and Facebook seems to be the preferred. I've noticed like
Facebook. Yeah. When you don't have much information, go to Facebook and then go to Reddit and then come back to X. You'll find everything that you need there. Am I giving away all my secrets? And Kat says, go Niners. I'm giving away all my secrets. No, I don't think they were religious, my friend, because religious people, I just don't know. Unless their religion was that of a cockroach religion, I do not think, or some kind of bug, some kind of bug fetish they had. I just can't see it. All right. Hopefully the care packages include soap. I agree, because otherwise, I don't think she's going to be too happy in there, and the people won't either. Can't mentally be okay to have kids nonstop and let them live like that. Yeah, X seems to be the spot. I know. I love it. Don't even get me started. And I'm fine that no one goes over there, because that's like my little board that I put up. But let me show you something else, guys. I told you we're going inside the Ohio House of Horrors today. What are we going to find? I want to show you now. Back to this real quick. I just found a 3D walkthrough of the Siders home, obtained and shared online as a walkthrough of the Siders property in Vinton County, Ohio. Let's take a look real quick. It's sometimes you can't spot the things that you want when the video's going all over the place and you need those. Someone came in and said we need meds, so you're not getting dizzy. Is that right? Okay. Yeah, they had a religious infestation. Okay, well, let's look at this real quick. I just want to see if I see anything that Let's take a look, because you can see it as a still shot rather than. So, guys, this gives you a good idea of how they live. Now, I am glad this is not a video, because otherwise there'd be bugs moving right now. That's why when we saw it moving, we're like, whoa. But look, let's take a look for a second. They've got a fan here. They've got the couch. Now, you're right. Someone said it doesn't look like they have couch cushions. It doesn't look like they do. But they do have a floor that's walkable. I don't know what the trash and the soot and the bugs are and why. But, I mean, they've got a side of the sink that they're using. Obviously, they could make coffee here, cook something. In here, they've got a few canned goods, nothing else really, just some dishes. And but other than that, you can see there's mold up on the ceiling to the roof. That's like, that indicates wet inside of the house in the roof. I would know. And then you could see the fridge there open, living rooms that way, owner's bedrooms that way, bathrooms here and the back door. Let's continue. Look at that. I mean, you could see by the walls who was in that room. Is that the room that the children were in? They do have an AC plugged in, but you can't even talk about landlords when you look at this. A landlord wouldn't let this happen. And I'm trying to figure out if this is the master bedroom where all the magic happened, all the baby making went on. All right. So from this room, the kitchen is facing this way. You can see here, they did a virtual tour. The walls are just crumbling. There's stuff inside of the wall. I mean, that's beyond. That's beyond. Okay. It's crazy that they even have dish soap, you said. Oh my goodness. Yeah, slumlord. I saw the person on the owner, and the owner was dead. And this was owned by her trust. So whoever was managing this slumlord's, I don't know if she was a slumlord. I'm just teasing, guys. I'm just kidding. I told you they were eating drywall. Hey, I've seen people eating drywall on one of those. I'm obsessed over. I like to sleep with balloon animals. That's where the magic happened, baby. This is in Ohio. And yeah, we have 414 people. If you would hit that like button for me, that'd be pretty awesome, guys. All right, let's continue real quick. So this is the room leading back into the kitchen. Hey, they've got a chair. Maybe that chair goes to the table. And guys, they do know what time it is because I can see a clock up on the wall. Come on. But the walls are getting all eaten up. I don't know what, if they really are eating that. But look at the front door, to the front door or the back, wherever the hell that is. They got a fan, right? They've got these. We saw this before, and there's an alcohol bottle thrown on the floor. This room seemed to be the one that they just tossed stuff in. There's that chair again. All right. And then there's a view from the kitchen. You can see they like to make some kind of tomato paste up in that cabinet. They got some pineapple looking stuff and some beans, cooking the beans and the cockroaches. And they do have a clock. They know what time it is. It says it's 3 o'clock. All right. It's almost 4:20. Is that a TV I see? They got a TV. Look at, okay. So they do have a room, guys. They have a room, and that room has a TV on it with a laundry basket and different, like, maybe that's, what is that? What is that? Like sunblock, maybe tanning oil, maybe some lube. Maybe they could have used some other, some more condoms. I don't know. But you see, that looks like that's where the magic probably happened. I think this is either the grandparents' room or the ones that were kept making babies. Oh, it better be. I know. It's disgusting. All right, let's get through this so we can get back. Anyway, these are good pictures. Thank you to Kayla Bree Crime Files or whoever put this out. That's where I got it from. All right, this is the 5th different perspective of that house. All right, number 5, Mambo number 5. All right, let's get back to it. There we go. Let's get back to this. Talk about the DNA, birth certificates, etc.
A lot of the family members are on Facebook. So you're saying she could be pregnant with child number 17?
I think there's a very high probability, again, especially based on the fact that she has been pregnant every year since 2008. It's about that time, Brian. So,
And so even though the dad is listed on, Gary Jr. is listed on the birth certificates, but you're saying there's ongoing DNA testing. I guess that would make sense because when you're the dad listed on the birth certificate, like,
And I'm telling you right now, and he's saying birth certificate, you could write Barney's name on there, right? I can write Giddy Up, Go Kim on the birth certificate. But the reason they were so adamant about doing DNA tests, they want to make sure, number one, there's no incest going in there. That's probably one of the number one things, is to find out who's abusing who. Secondly, they want to double check and triple check that there's not some kids in that basement or whatever, that 12 by 12 room, that were maybe possibly kidnapped or something of that sort. All right. So they've got to rule all that out. And you've definitely got to go back, Carrie. This is the Ohio House of Horrors. They've lived there for the past 4 years. They found 16 children inside the house, 2 which were almost dead within 24 hours of being dead. 16 children aging from 18 months to 18 years old. You gotta watch it. You missed too much.
there's no DNA, right? You could just say this is the dad and they'll put the dad, right? It could be someone else for some of them.
No, you're right. That they don't test your baby upon you giving birth.
Right.
You just, you fill out these forms. But I think that as this case progresses, there are more family members coming out, and it does seem like the Siders were very isolated for quite some time. And also the local reporters, they've been kind of showing us some drone footage of the home, and it really was secluded. Like there weren't neighbors right next door. It was very much kind of away from everything. So I still am confused though, as to how no one saw 16 kids move into that home, and no one saw, it's
At
very
night,
bizarre, very, very
I don't
bizarre.
buy it. I don't buy that there wasn't, I mean, there was the railroad tracks right there.
Yeah.
I just think,
I mean, I do buy it because I've seen some of the neighbors that say they didn't see any kids coming in or out. And when you watch these cult kind of crimes, right? I watch a lot of the cult crimes with the LDS or fake LDS and the sister wives, and they hide these people. When they move, they travel at night so nobody sees how many wives or children they have. All right, it's intentional. They're serving beans and bugs for dinner. Why are there red eyes? Why are there red eye? They're red around their eyes. I wonder about this whole red eye thing with Elizabeth. They actually all look like they have red eyes, don't they? I don't know. Maybe they're infected too. They should be. They put themselves in this predicament. I mean, I don't have a lot of sympathy when it comes to grown-ass adults doing this to minors, and a lot of them.
16 kids, there had to be someone who saw something.
Right?
Have we heard anything about a possible defense at this point? I mean, do you think mental health is going to come into play here?
Yep.
Well, Gary Siders Sr. is getting an evaluation. The state signed off on that. His attorney had stated that initially he had no idea how to follow these court proceedings. He was very lost. He didn't even know who his attorney was, why he was there. And they were like, okay, we need to get him evaluated ASAP. So that should be happening. And I'm willing to bet there probably will be some kind of NGI plea, because they're kind of saying that he was not in his right state of mind when, these I don't even know how to say this, because Brian, we don't even actually know. I keep saying alleged abuse, but like we don't actually know if these kids were hit, if they were starved, if they were just living in filthy conditions. We don't know all of the details here. So
and when we say just, that's not minimizing it. It's saying this is terrible enough. What else happened to them? Right? And we're not even talking about the toxic mold and raw sewage in the house. Thank you, Kim Watts. I agree. None of that. All right. Probably red eyes from the burning ammonia. Definitely a combination of malnutrition. All of them, 7 of them, were malnourished. And they went into the hospital because of the malnourishment. Out of the 16, 7 were in the hospital. 2 were in the IC unit out of the 7. And now they've all been released. All right. Let's continue. Did you feed the kids?
yeah, this guy, Gary Siders Sr., he could have just been living in this house in his own world, dealing with whatever he's allegedly dealing with and not actually knowing. But then I go back to the whole, these kids have, a lot of them have been around for, let's say, 18 years. So what happened up until then? How are they living 5 years ago? Was it like this? Was there a decline? Did something happen specifically?
When the reports that the 18-year-old can't even write her name, did you see that?
I did. And that was one of the questions. Why is an 18-year-old grouped in with a, a child endangerment case? And they said, well, she couldn't write her own name. We thought, she potentially was mute. But then good old Facebook is again, this is unconfirmed, but there have been rumors. And also Elizabeth Siders' attorney did echo this. The older kids had social media. They had iPhones and they were communicating with people this way. So I don't know what the truth is there. We'll find out. But her attorney, Tommy Stolley, also said, she shared all these inside jokes with the kids. Her and Gary Siders always wanted a big family. So a lot of these statements are just wild.
Now, this came directly from Elizabeth Siders saying to her attorney that she is not a victim and she just wants to be back out there to take care of her children. All right. So that's the number one thing that she said, that she's not a victim. And I mean, she's saying it now. Does abuse, is there a time where she was a victim at 13 and being groomed and then married at 15? Absolutely. But when did she become a victim? When did her victim become into her being a perpetrator? And there were cats. We saw the cats at the front door. They say they were born in the hospital, guys. Yeah, other questions I can't answer why. I don't know why the older children, I believe the older children were not malnourished. I don't know how they weren't, but we don't know if they were infected by or bug infections or what. I mean, these girls, there's a lot of girls. Women have their period. Girls have their period. What were they doing with that? How were the girls caring for their period and taking care of themselves with the cat feces and all the things going on? I don't know. But we're going to find out, I guess.
Be conflicting if you ask me at this point.
So I was looking back at the Turpin case from California. Do you remember that case?
Yeah.
We interviewed the prosecutor who prosecuted that case and was very close to the Turpin kids and still is. And really, these cases are very complicated. Like, it's not cut and dry. And like what you said about, the 18-year-old being an adult, even though she's an adult, they're still like children. And that was the same case with the Turpins. Like, you can't really treat them as adults because they never went to school. You know what I mean? Like, mentally, they're still kids.
And they don't have any kind of social awareness whatsoever. Whatever they were taught is what they were taught. So when he talks about the Turpin kids and when the Turpins were rescued, the girl was talking to the officer and she kept using a word that we wouldn't use. So let's say we did a science experiment where we raised a child from, being born until 18, and we only exposed them to 5 words, right? A cat would mean a bed and a pillow, and a cat means blankets, right? A dog means something way different. Then you get those children, and 18 years later, that's all they know. They're referring to these different things. That's what the Turpins did. And law enforcement, when they escaped, thought something was wrong with them because they couldn't comprehend what the hell they were saying. All right. That is kind of what happened in this case, because they say that the older children didn't read, write, or talk. And that's not true. They just didn't in the beginning towards them. And they don't know how to be social either.
But it's complicated because even she was explaining, like, even with all the abuse with the Turpins, some of those kids still missed their parents. I mean, that's all they've ever known. So I don't know. I think it's not as cut and dry as just saying these people are awful, evil, which maybe they are. But like you said, you bring poverty into it. You bring maybe like mentally diminished, IQs, like the family saying. I mean, I think it's not just cut and dry, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, look, when investigators had said, some of the kids were close to death, my thought went to starvation, I think, at that point, or a possible infection just from, there was one bathroom in that house.
Exactly.
And again, it didn't seem like it was used a lot, or maybe they didn't even have soap. So again, you're living in conditions like this. It is, very easy to get these infections or deal with these illnesses. And if you don't have proper medical care, then yes, or proper vaccinations, even whatever it is. Yeah, these kids could be close to death. So I wasn't exactly thinking of a Turpin situation where, some of the Turpin kids were chained to a bed. They would be beat and, read passages from the Bible if they didn't do XYZ because their parents had
and that's what we need to get down to. What did their What did their discipline look like? What did their just raising conditions? What was their normalcy? All right. Yeah. There's teenage girls that had alleged Facebook boyfriends. Find the video with a girl who gave an interview from Dollar Tree. I did watch that already, Tiffany. And I not only watched it, but I played it on my episode on the very last one. So if you go to my playlist, it's on there already. I don't want to make anybody have to watch that again. A lot of people were wondering what the context even was, and what the context was to show how these people lived and what people thought of them from the outside when they went into the store.
This certain ideology. I don't think that the Siders are calculated like that. Again, as of right now, could I change my mind as things come out? Absolutely. But everything that we've learned so far, Brian, I just don't think that they had this, evil just plan in their head to keep breeding these children and torturing them and beating them and starving them. I again think that it might have been just carelessness. It might low IQ. I know I sound like a broken record. I want to be inside that courtroom. I want to.
She said low IQ, man. If I said that, I'd be in trouble. All right, let's continue. She's going to be in the courtroom. We're going to continue following Lauren Conlon, Brian Enton, and everybody else that especially and particularly are boots on the ground and have some inside information, because right now there's a gag order and we're not going to get any other information.
Like, what is going on with these parents? I mean, this is a really big question, I know, but those are your own kids. It's your own blood. How does it get to this point where they're living in filth? They're chained up with the Turpins. Similar situations. They were living in a 12 by 12 room in Ohio. Like, how do people get to a place where they're doing this to their own kids?
I mean, Brian, that is the $1 million question. How do they? I don't know. It's so callous, and it's so, I mean, there's no words to describe, right? How a mother and a father who bear these children can turn and put them into the conditions, or even themselves live in those conditions,
right,
where it's so filthy and there's rats and there's feces. Nobody in their right mind would want to live in that. So it begs the question, what is going on with these parents and why? What is their motive for wanting to produce all these children and then just treat them in this manner? I think there's got to be some mental health things going on, some control issues. I know that David and Luis, at some point, they tried to point fingers. At some point, they tried to blame it on past traumas. All of the kids typically, though, had the same story, that it was a gradual demise. It wasn't always so bad, that Luis started out little by little, and it's almost like with each chaining of one child, then it became easier to chain them for longer. And then with each forcing a child to skip a meal, it became easier to make all of them skip a meal. And then with chaining one, it became easier to chain two. And then they just kind of got used to this rhythm of adding horrific things. And I mean, to the point where they were at where they're chained and they're in cages and they're
right. So we didn't hear any of that about the children. We didn't hear that there's cigarette burns or any of that kind of stuff. We don't know anything else other than the filthy conditions. Right. And I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of analysis that can be put into this. And many people, this is pretty complex because you can have an opinion about Elizabeth, and I understand it. I do. There's a point where you sympathize with her, but there's a point where you sympathize for those children. So, Synth, I'll read if you don't mind, I'll read what you're sending. I don't even know if you're here anymore, but Synth sent an email, and there's a lady that did detective analysis. And I don't know if that was Synth's words or what, but she says, and I'll quote, Elizabeth is a victim. This is Synth's opinion. Elizabeth is a victim of reproductive coercion. She moved into that house with 8 kids, manageable. Then roughly 18 months to 2 years ago, 2025, after the pic of the in-laws looking well in front of the house with Gary's sister, their daughter, Gary Sr. had a stroke. And soon after that, he developed dementia, while Elizabeth had 4 sets of twins, including a set that had passed away, the conjoined twins, which in Synth's opinion caused her to give up and self-loathe, believing that she, deserved things bad happening to her, dealing with postpartum psychosis. So Elizabeth is dealing with 4 sets of kids under 4, 2 grown-ups that need minding and caring for, and a husband that won't let her out of his sight and definitely not working so he can control the Social Security money and Gary Sr. and Christina that they qualified for. So Elizabeth is carrying 18 people plus 2 non-mobile elderly people that she has some sort of love for. How could she not be totally and utterly overwhelmed? Especially the older kids. At least several of them had developmental issues. The evidence is of the torn walls denote the kids with low functioning autism. They like to tear and destroy the walls. That's a great opinion. And like I said, this is very complex. I'm not even going to say other than in your opinion. That's your opinion. I want to know what happened. I want to hear from her. I want doctors to tell us and an analyst. All right. But Coco and me and some of the other ones say we don't even have time for excuses for them, nor the consideration of that when you have children that are dying. Okay. So yes, your opinion. A lot of people have that. I agree.
Deplorable conditions. I don't know though the answer to that question of how a parent gets to that point. It's horrible.
Was it a religious thing with the Turpins at first?
I mean, there was some evidence of that yes, it was this multi different religions that they had kind of meshed into one. Some things from Buddhism, some things from Christianity, some things from atheism. It was a very strange how they spoke about the religion, but nonetheless, there was this love for God within all of the children when we met them, and even I think till to this day, a lot of them really have a deep faith. But I don't think that it was the religion that they had created that sent them down this road to live in these conditions. And with Dave and Louise, it was interesting. When it got so bad for them in Texas, they actually went and lived in a hotel and let the kids stay in those horrible conditions.
Yeah, we don't know who Squeeze is, but I mean, we obviously know. I popped that up and like, what are you talking about? Inbreds have brown skin, not white. It's just a troll, guys. That's not even, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, they were in Wisconsin too, right? Isn't that where they got married? Right. Yeah. I mean, that was just a complete idiotic comment there. If you like to redeem yourself, you could say something else that you're just being whatever you're being, because that comment is like way out of sorts. They're just trying to throw us off, guys. Don't worry. Yeah, it's all going to come out just like the Turpin kids did. It will. They're now free to talk, but they have to be evaluated and they need some time to be able to understand that, right? Sit down, Squeeze. You guys know there's Steves all the time everywhere. All right, we're almost done with this, guys. Thank you so much. Hit that like button, subscribe, get a membership, hype the video if you can. We've showed the inside of the house from 5 different perspectives now.
So, I mean, it is just, it's unexplainable.
Do they claim to love their kids?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm. How do you even explain that? I mean,
probably you would analogize it to the domestic violence, right? Where a partner beats up their other partner in a horrible way, but still claims it's in the name of love. And it was just a overreaction or all of the excuses that they use, but they call that love as well, which is equally disturbing.
With the Ohio case, I was watching the sheriff. He was explaining that some of the kids can't even really speak. Like even the older kids don't have like language skills. The 18-year-old, he said, couldn't write her name. Like with the Turpins, how difficult was it to communicate with them initially?
You know, Brian, that was almost an identical thing that we struggled with the Turpins. And in fact, I think when Diane Sawyer had the 911 call come out and you saw Jordan Turpin trying to explain to the detective what the chain, like the bruises on the wrist were, she kept calling them the places. She didn't know the grammatical word to use.
I appreciate that, Luna. I'm like, come on in, hit the like button, but let's not tell people to go out of here and go look at someone else's video when I've got it here, guys, and I got it ×5. So if you came in late, go back and watch it because there's a lot of different versions of the inside of this house. All right, let's continue. The Turpin girl said that she had social media. They would sneak and watch it. Yes. All right. I believe the only reason she wants the children is to tell them to lie. Interesting. Hey, that's a possibility. There's nothing off of the table.
My brother is chained up and he has bruises on him. She kept calling him at the places. And you can see the deputy is like, I don't know what she's talking about. He was thinking about calling in a 5150 hold. Same with the medications. She couldn't read or say the word medication. She couldn't say her street name. And there was this cadence about all of those children that was very present when we first rescued them. You could hear that there was a different cadence, almost like their own language that you could visibly hear when you spoke to them. And I believe it's the same with these Ohio kids because, you know, when you're not exposed to the outside world and you're not exposed to individuals who have accents, individuals who have English as their second language, we pick up a lot of those social skills and how we speak to one another. And when you don't have any of that because you are completely isolated, it shows a very similar pattern in their language and how they speak. Similar with the Turpin kids, they weren't going to school. They weren't being homeschooled by Louise, so they didn't know how to write their names. You know, those poor kids were rescued and got thrown into the foster care system.
And then they turned around and were abused. I'm going to leave it at that. I talked about the Turpins and their abuse inside the home and then also in foster care. And somebody said to me, don't say that. You trying to, you want to say the kids are going to get abused there? No, I'm saying we don't want the kids to be abused outside of the home after they've already been abused for years. Love you, Beverly. I hope you sleep well. I hope you're doing better. Shout out and much love to you. All right. All right, let's continue. I'm gonna do this one more time. C. Smith just got here. So C. Smith, I know that Gisela K has different or has a version that she showed, but I have 5 separate versions of the house and a walkthrough. So that's what I'm gonna leave us off on is we're gonna go back to this one real quick, which shows the bottom of the walls. You can see the floor tore up. They're walking over that, and when they walk or the kids crawl or the bugs crawl and they move around, this stuff is moving with them. And I don't know if this is stuff from the ceiling, if it's coming from the walls. I do know that my house had the ceiling fall in a couple of years ago. And that's what it looked like where the ceiling fell in was like that. And that was like a total fluke that happened, not something that we lived in. Okay. So, again, thank you guys for everything today. Super chat, super stickers, hitting the like button, sharing. Tay-nay, eeny, ween. Tay-nay, eeny, ween. What? All right, let's check this out. And then class is dismissed.
Video allegedly from inside the Siders home. Look right there. You can see that fireball party bucket. Here it is again.
Can't open it anymore.
Just look at the amount of trash and stuff just all over.
Look at that.
Oh my. Look at this room.
Every room looks.
That is disgusting.
You see the freezer? Imagine eating out of that.
I personally believe this is the house. This video is legit.
That's lazy. Pure lazy.
16 children were living in this. Ages 18 months to 18 years. Until they were removed, or I guess I should say they were rescued from this home on June 30th.
Thank you, Luna. I appreciate you.
You can see bugs. Look, the bugs are just crawling up the door. As most of you know, their parents and grandparents have been charged with child endangerment, and they've all pleaded not guilty. Well, it looks like they did have some food there. Investigators described it as some of the worst conditions they've ever seen. And now we know why.
We don't know exactly why. They call it evil. Ugh.
Several of the children needed medical treatment, and 2 of them actually had to be flown to the hospital because of how severe it was.
Damn, that's so gross, guys. Right? It's not like a hoarder's house like I expected, guys. I literally thought it was going to be piled from ceiling to floor. And
It's so
not.
sad to think that 16 children were forced to live like this.
So what the hell happened?
More than anything, I hope they're safe now and they're getting the help that they need.
I know, Crazy Jane.
Pay attention to that door.
How'd they sit there in that, man? I'd clean it up. I wouldn't be able to sit there. I just wouldn't be able to sit there. I don't know. There was dirty pots. I don't know.
Remember I said pay attention to that door? I took a screenshot of it from the video. Look at this. And then here's a video I took when I put in the address on Google Maps. Like I said, I think these videos.
Oh no, it's completely them. But thank you guys. I appreciate all of y'all. We want justice for these children. Tiffany, Louise, Lopez, and everybody else that came in here. Yes, I am here Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I am not here on the weekends unless there's something really special that I need to do. So that being said, please come back daily and check in with us, see what we got going on, support the channel, hit the like button, share it, get a membership, and hype the channel if you get an opportunity to. Makes me so feel sad for the kiddos. I hope they're doing well, taking tubies and clean water, clean clothes, fresh meals, clean beds, and much more. And I agree. All right, guys, we want justice for those children, and justice means getting the help that they deserve. All right. So I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I will see you guys tomorrow with another episode of who knows what, probably one of the cases that I need to cover that has updates. Boy, there's so many of them. Love and light to you, Carrie. I'm so glad that you stopped by. I've been on the YouTube streets lately, literally. Pino has been stepping up his game and doing a lot of live streams. So hope to see you there, Carrie, on Pino and YouTube streets. Love you guys. Have a good night, and prayers for everybody that needs them. All right, guys. All right. On that note, I'm going to let you look at that baby doll. Wait, I actually can't. I have to move. You can look at that baby doll on the way out. That would drive me crazy. That I couldn't do it, guys. Have a good night. Love ya. See you tomorrow.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?